Hi everyone, I greet you all in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. My apologies, I have not been online, I haven't been consistent, I've literally just been missing because there's a lot of things that's happened. I've recently moved and I have had multiple challenges. The Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities in high places. I'm sorry for the noise because I live on a main road, so you're gonna probably hear noise in the background. So basically I made friends with this individual who was friends with mutual friends, but before I made friends with her, I knew of her but never knew in detail. But I just used to get this feeling that used to make me feel very uncomfortable, because when she used to see me, she used to stare me down. But I'm a kind of person, I don't take things to heart, and I wouldn't let it bother me, but coming to think of it, it did stir me in my spirit. And that's something that I do want to talk to you guys about, is red flags, and when your intuition tells you something, or your spirit, I don't know, and you neglect it, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it with, I don't know, but it's not good. You must pay attention to red flags. Don't allow things, especially when your intuition warns you, or your spirit, or you get a feeling about someone, don't neglect it, because that's what I did. And I paid for it with nearly losing my life, and that's why I want to share this, because it's horrific, it's appalling. And for those of you out there who have female friends or male friends, this is not just about females, it's also about males. Individuals, can be male or female, you need to pay attention. And a lot of us empaths, because we've been bullied or rejected, or we've gone through things in our childhood, and we don't want to make people feel that rejection or feel like we're coming against them. We second guess and we put ourselves in dangerous, compromising situations back then. But now a lot of you're not doing that. You've educated yourself and you have boundaries. So let me rewind back. So as I said, we were mutual friends through a friend, and I noticed that when we would all get together, there was about 4 of us. Sometimes we would go out to raves. Back then, not now, I would go to like bashment raves and things like that, and we would go out. And I listened to her, she would be talking about people and how she knows this person and that person. And fast forward anyway, it happened that we became quite closer. And she used to come to my house and things like that. And I saw some signs back then, I realised something that wasn't right, that didn't sit with me. And what did not sit with me was that when we would go out places, like if we went to the local supermarket or the local shopping centre, or, we would see people who she knew, she would make comments about them. She would say, oh, look at them and this and that. And there's one thing that up to this day that doesn't sit well with me. And I know this lady, and it's just appalling, when you think of how someone can be so degrading. This lady was going about her business, just, doing, just walking through the ends. And she said, oh, look at her, she had an abortion. And that didn't sit right with me, because being a female and how life is challenging and things can happen in life, that's not something for you to undermine someone. Someone makes a decision or choice about something like that. That's not for you to put that on public display, Someone who is loving, kind, thoughtful, sincere, you don't do that. You don't talk about people's heartache or what they've gone through and do that. You don't point out things. And I realised that she would do it. And another time, you know, I met this hairdresser and she would talk about, you know, the woman's doing her hair, you know, and after she'd be talking about how she's barren and she can't breathe. And it didn't sit well with me. But I'm going to be honest, because I grew up in dysfunction and a lot of my experiences of being around a lot of dysfunctional people in my earlier days, I became accustomed to it, hearing people talk, but it just never sit well with me, because I'm the type of person that I don't talk about people's flaws. I don't go around talking about certain things. If I have a friend and she disclosed something to me and it's personal, it's personal. You don't do that. You don't go around on the high street when you're walking out and start pointing at people. But narcissists, we know they do that because they like to control the narrative and they like to control how people are perceived. So let me fast forward, because there's a lot to talk about and it's in a short time. I realised something that didn't sit well with me was the way she would talk about her daughter, you know. I saw how the daughter was treated. And, you know, as I know now, she's a narcissist. Narcissistic females do not like their female daughters. They're in competition with them. They don't emotionally regulate them. They degrade them. And at that time, I think the daughter, now I'm not sure because a lot of things have changed, but at the time, you know, the daughter was very upset with her mother's behaviour, and there was a lot of things that was going behind closed doors that was being said to her. And I witnessed an event that people that just doesn't sit well with me. The child was struggling in school, and those of you who are dyslexic or have a learning disability, or you have a child that is struggling, you don't undermine and shame your child. You love and support and you help your child. You do what's best to help your child academically, or if the child is not academic, you help them find a skill or what their strength is. But you don't do that. And something happened. One day I was there and the child was just speaking some truth, you know, just caught my attention, just started saying some things about how she felt and, you know, about the behaviour of another sibling that turned out to be a psychopath. And the child was shamed, you know. The child was ridiculed and spoken to in a demeaning manner. And bearing in mind, if you're dyslexic, one of the common things with dyslexia is spelling, reading. There are people in the world who are dyslexic, who are billionaires, who are thriving and doing very well. So dyslexia does not hold you back. But until you find your learning style, it can be very, very challenging. And this child was humiliated and told to spell words if she continues to speak, knowing that she's not able to spell the words. And bearing in mind the person who I am now and the knowledge I have and the awareness, that could never happen in front of me ever again in life. There's no way that a psychopath, a sociopath or a narcissist could demean someone in front of me like that. And I looked at her and I looked at the son and I'm thinking like, what's going on? Like, what's this? And I noticed after a while it became a common thing, you know, that they would sit down and demean and laugh after people who are going through very hard struggles, and it didn't sit well with me. And the reason why it didn't sit well with me is because throughout my life, the very same struggles that they're laughing after are the very same struggles that I've had, and being ridiculed myself and having people who now I know are narcissistic do that to me. It just didn't feel right, and I felt it for the child, and it just didn't sit well with me. So anyway, fast forward, we would go places, as I said, she would talk about people. She always gossiping. She's always talking about people and pointing, and I just didn't like it because I'm not used to that, and I noticed after a while I became very distraught in her presence. I became extremely tired. I would have headaches. But something changed. During our friendship, I embarked on a weight loss journey, and I was determined to lose the excessive weight that I was carrying from from giving birth to my children, and I was determined to get my life back. And I embarked on a weight loss plan, and I lost 4 stones in about 2-3 months, and it literally was the beginning of hell. And I never knew what I know now, is that narcissists are very competitive. They're very envious. They're jealous. They're spiteful. They believe that they're the best. They don't have no emotional understanding. They're competitive. They think everybody's jealous of them, And in the beginning, she was like, oh, you lost weight, and and it was a shock because she didn't really know me like that. And those people who know me from before I had kids, I was quite slim. I was very slender, curvy in the right places. And I just determined I'm not going to live my life with this excessive weight, because it was making me very depressed. Every time I would try to get ready, I would have a breakdown because I couldn't find anything to wear, or my belly be sticking out, or my arms. Just anyone who has been a certain weight their life and they've changed and they're not comfortable. And I'm not coming against anyone who is plus size. You are beautiful no matter what size you are. And she started to change. We went out, we would go out to a lot of bashment raves, and people would notice me, and not that I'm noticing them because I wasn't interested. And something happened where we went to a big event. It was an award show kind of thing, but you don't get an award. It's just like a mic where they say, oh, best dress, you look good in your dress, and this person win this or whatever. We was at the rave, and a person who is deceased now, the friend left from where he was in the crowd to find me on stage and dance. And I didn't really pay it no mind, but that was the beginning where hell just literally just opened up. And from then, she literally started to change. She started to get very spiteful. She would say things that would not warrant her opinion. She just literally spoke to me and scolded me like if I was a child for no reason. We went out somewhere again. I had a friend who was a security guard, and bear in mind, I know him, I know his wife, I've known his kids over the years. We've never, just hello, when you live somewhere locally, someone, very nice person, humble guy. And one day I came into the store and it was Christmas time, and he said, choose what wine you want, whatever you want, just choose whatever you like. And she said, oh, he like brown skin girl. And she just started with her negativity again. And now I know that if that was to happen at this stage in my life, you would be cancelled, because there's certain things that you don't do. Everybody has their preference, and this is not about colour or anything like that, but she had some insecurities in herself, and I didn't see that at the time, because I saw her as somebody who was beautiful, who was successful, who was, really nice. I didn't see that. She never portrayed that side. She never exposed her vulnerabilities or anything like that. And I didn't pick that up from her. She was very confident. She had a very huge ego. I never got that from her. So when she said that, it just made me feel very uncomfortable. Then fast forward, after a while, as I said, I just couldn't take being around her anymore. It got to a point where it was really unbearable. There was someone who was close to her who could not conceive, and God bless her womb, and the things that she would say about this girl, I just did not like it. It was terrible. It was unbearable to hear her talk about someone like that, and then she would see them and smile. And bear in mind, this girl's trying to be nice to her, and she's laughing in her face with me, and I just said, you know what, you're not a nice person. You're not good. You're not good. And I started to see her for who she was. But fast forward, I found myself in a situation, and the way she responded to me, but bear in mind, I didn't tell her the whole truth of what was going on, because I kind of saw how she liked to criticize, and I said, I'm not giving her the opportunity to say nothing. So I gave her a story, but I didn't give her the events of exactly how everything played out. And I just tested the waters to see, and exactly what I suspected is what I got. And people, little did I know, this person was going out in my community to mutual friends who we knew, and she was saying bad things about me. She was painting me to be a bad person and speaking untruths and twisting the truth and trying to make herself look like a savior and me like an idiot, and questioning me and saying things. And it got to a point that I said, you know what? When I confronted her with how I was feeling and her response and how she treated me, I said, that's it, no more, you're done. Today's the day. I'm going to lock you off, and there's not going to be no more, because you are disrespectful. And she showed me her true colours. And when she showed me her true colours? She showed me her true colours when I was in one of the most vulnerable states in my life. I was going through depression. I was going through anxiety. I wasn't even sleeping at night. I was really low. You'd expect a friend to be there for you, and literally that's when she decided to strike me. And I found out that the mutual friends that we had, people were coming to me and letting me know that she was talking about me, things, that were very personal. I disclosed to her about a paedophile in my life. She even contacted the paedophile to talk to him, to try to get information out of him, to find out what he knew about me. She was contacting people from my past, and literally just, it was when I found this out, it was a shock. I couldn't believe that I was literally walking with the devil. And I know I shouldn't say that, but because of the spirit behind them that is evil, that is the characteristics that a narcissist has. Is just like Satan. They don't have anything in them good for you. They don't want to see anything good for you. When you're going through emotional challenges, which is very, something that happens with empaths, because we feel a lot, that's when they strike you. And people, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here today. This person antagonized me for years. She went around to people talking about me. Everyone just wouldn't leave me alone. It's like she just wanted to see me dead or something. But as I know what's happened, as I know now, and it was terrible. It was really devastating to know that I trusted someone who should have never been trusted. He should have never been around me or my children. And as I mentioned my children, my daughter literally got fed up of it. And my daughter was walking, coming home from school. And I don't know people, this lady who was a friend at the time decided to, disrespect my daughter and say something. And she was laughing and pointing her out, which is now I know is another narcissist. My daughter had to deal with that, and my daughter said, no, Mum, no, I'm not having it. And she put the lady in her place, and can you believe it that her friend wanted to hit my daughter for standing up for me? And literally everyone, people who didn't need to know anything, she would stop them and talk about me and, go around telling people how I'm crazy and this and that, because obviously I found her out. And fast forward, people, I just want to say to you, because I made this video, that once you discover somebody is toxic, once you discover that you have a friend that's not for you, don't waste time in cutting them off. I know a lot of people say, work through it and, don't be like that. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, there's no talking through, there's no understanding. These people are sent from Satan to destroy your life, and that's what she was. She saw my potential and it threatened her. There's other things I could talk about, but I just don't want to mention it because it's not for today. Maybe a part 2, I will go into that. But it's sad because even her family, the way she would speak about her family and somebody who was going through something mentally and call them names and label them and laugh and things is terrible, But I thank God I'm no longer friends with her. She's not in my life. She'll never be in my life. But I've forgiven her. But I had to share this video because a lot of you empaths out there, you've had a lot of covert narcissistic friends. You've had a lot of friends who emotionally have let you down, who have not supported you, not been there, and literally scolded you when you have gone through a very difficult time in your life, when really your friends should be there to support you. And instead of supporting you, they're taking the things that you told them in person and they're using it as a weapon against you, and that's not your friend. Friends don't do that. And when you're going through something, if you're not reaching out to your friend, and that's a true friend, she will understand you. She ain't gonna hold that against you. She ain't gonna be standing on the corner or on Instagram and talking about you like that. That's not how friends are. Friends are caring. Real friends who care for you, they support you whether what you're going through is good or bad, whether you've made a mistake or not. They're not gonna make you feel down. They're gonna find a way to uplift you and support you. And I just want to say to you, not everybody who smiles with you is your friend. And if you are an empath, notice that there are narcissists that are going to want to come in your life and drain your energy. And my advice to you is to test every single spirit that comes into your life. You can't be naive anymore. You can't walk by feelings, or you don't want to treat someone a certain way because of how you were treated, and that's what gets you caught, because you see the red flags and you don't do nothing about it. But I'm hoping today that this message will inspire you. There is part 2. And I will be releasing it soon. God bless.